works differently. Or the A, right? There's
but nobody talks about the Hawks.
No, that's
why it's bullshit. Well, that's why it's bullshit. They don't talk about. They don't bring up the Hawks. It's a fucking winning organization. They've been a winning organization for the last 10, 12 years. They win more than the Knicks. It's also fucking Black Hollywood. Oh, Strip Club Capital. Why the fuck don't you want to play there? They got Trae Young. They got Kevin Huerter. They got Bogdanovic. They got so many. But no, let's go play with the Knicks because they have rats there.
So you got an axe to grind.
And people tell tall tales and myths and everything. And porn used to be a big thing there in the 70s. And the drugs are great. Like, no, it's
Welcome back to All Sorts of Sports.
All sorts of sports.
All sorts of sports. Do-do-do-do-boo.
Get that sports in your ass. Sorry.
The fuck? Fam.
All up in that ass.
None of that was necessary. All right. What episode is this?
Oh, man. They're going to kill KD on Twitter. Like, one of these, like 2 years from now, they're going to just grab all these clips and just, like, destroy KD.
Feel free. Other than a few of those audio-only episodes, which I hope stay removed off the internet because
I got them all.
You did?
I am the holder.
That'll stop me from ever running for political office. But
this is episode 72.
Yes.
Okay. Well, is it 71 or 72? Because the last one.
This one's 72.
I think this one's 72.
Okay. Cool. Well, episode 72. A lot of shit happened in the NBA, and we're going to start off with that.
Yeah, should do it.
Go ahead, Kayla. You about to say something?
No. I was just saying, I was trying to look up who number 72 is, but we kind of stopped doing that bit, so I don't really care.
The fridge, right?
I don't know if he was, honestly.
Was Fridge 72? I always think of him as 99 for some reason.
William
Yeah,
Perry?
same here, right? Like, I always felt like he was one of those really, really high numbers. But, I mean, it doesn't really matter, right?
The fridge.
Yeah, he was 72.
Cool. All right.
Bean Joe Green was also 72.
So it was Too Tall Giannis.
Okay, so I sent you guys a list about the shit we're going to talk about. Now, before we get, like, on to, like, the Game 7s that are happening tonight and tomorrow night, we're recording this on Saturday evening before the first Nets and Bucks game 7. Keem said something about like making sure we discuss the spiritual experience that Kevin Durant gave us game 5 when he basically put all of Brooklyn on his back. That shit was great. Yes. You guys watch it?
Yes.
Oh yeah, every second.
Yes.
I didn't watch every second, but I did. I was catching a lot what was happening in the Twitter sphere as it was going on.
Oh man, it was.
I've gone back and watched.
I caught the second half. I was watching like the first half is like background noise, and it's like just catching shots here and there. It's like, oh, they beating their ass, whatever. And then second half, watched it all. Just going like, and it was just like, it was a treasure. Like it was a treasure. Like I haven't like seen KD do anything like that, and it felt like a while. And to say like that is kind of a disservice to the night that he had, because like he had what was probably, somebody said this on Twitter, a top 5 playoff performance ever. Mm-hmm. It's probably honestly the best performance, at least in the second half in the playoffs, that I can remember in recent history. I know we got Bron with 45 and stuff like that. I know we've had some recent, I know Steph did 30 and 1/2 like recently against the Rockets, but KD's like that game, he has the 3rd highest playoff game score of all time. Mm-hmm. And it was sensational. He's the most unguardable player of all time. And all he did was be himself and be unguardable.
He just got It was, if you watch what he did, it was majestic. He got to his spots and made shots over and over and over and over again. He would just pull up from, 10 feet and know that, first of all, Giannis wasn't guarding him. That's a mistake. And he would just pull up from there. There's nobody around him. Bucket. And that three that he made with like 2 seconds left on the shot clock, just dirty. Once he hit that, I was like, well, this is over.
The face he made, like as he was tracking back, was just great. It just shows it's a spiritual experience. Like he said, I think that was when Dame went off. But
and when Giannis turned the ball over with like, I don't know, less than a minute to go, and he got the rebound, you just saw it. I was like, dude, it's in those moments. I'm like, they're never gonna lose ever again. Like with that kind of performance, just in my soul, I was like,
I mean, they did just kind of like lose the next game though.
Yeah, but at the time, I was like, there's nobody that can beat this man.
Look, there is nothing taken away from KD's performance, right? Like what he did was an all-timer. Especially when you look on the court, Harden was just there for moral support.
He basically was so bad that he had some of the most comical turnovers I've ever seen.
You can literally think that there was a conversation to happen where Harden basically looked at KD and be like, "Yo, if we're gonna go out, we're gonna go out together. I'll be out there with you, bro." Like that might have been it. Like because Harden couldn't do a goddamn thing.
The decoy.
Right, for the most part, but even he wasn't fooling anybody from a decoy perspective because he couldn't move up and down anything. Mike Budenholzer is the worst goddamn coach in the NBA, and I've been saying this shit for a very long time. Number one, Giannis should not be allowed to take another 3-point shot ever. He shot 0 last game, and they won. I've been saying this shit forever, right? Number two, where was Giannis on defense on KD? You're talking about last year's was it last year's or year before last defensive player of the year? And nowhere to be found? When you talking about KD having this fucking go-off moment? What the fuck was that? Like, what are you changing up? This goddamn pick and roll with fucking Drew, it doesn't work! Stop! Put Giannis in the fucking post like Shaq and play the goddamn game. That's how you're going to win this thing. Look, Milwaukee has the best shot ever to do this shit. I think the reason you're looking at KD and saying, we've been saying the same thing over and over again. You can't do it alone, right? You can't win a series alone. You can win a game by yourself if you just shoot lights out. You might be able to pull off 2 and go lights out. But Milwaukee did everything they possibly could to help facilitate this shit to happen when it shouldn't have been. You can't look at this Brooklyn team and realize you've got Kyrie is gone. You've got Harden, who's a hobbled fucking man, and you can't figure it out to get the fucking win, especially when you had a lead that fucking big. You can't switch it up to get something or to at least stop their fucking momentum. No, it's just ridiculous. It's fucking ridiculous. It makes me so angry to see the way that they use Giannis. And I don't know if it's Giannis's thing or the coaching. Because if I'm Giannis in that sort of situation, I'm going to the coaching being like, yo, I'm going to KD. Like, you're going to have to stop me. Like, that's the kind of dog you're supposed to be.
I want to speak to that.
Go ahead, because I'm just fucking
so there's a lot of discourse on Twitter and stuff about, him not being a dog and stuff like that. And while I agree, he does need to kind of change his mindset. This has happened in multiple series, before. It usually Kawhi has told, it happened in when the Raptors were up 2-0. I mean, we're down 2-0 to Milwaukee a couple years ago. He basically told Nick Nurse, hey, I'm guarding. He said, I'm guarding Giannis, and walked out of the room. Right. But it took 2 games. It's not it's not always, it doesn't always happen from the inception of game 1, because coaches always are trying to save their best guys. And I get it. So I am with K-Dot in that I place most of that blame on Bud. Now I do fault Giannis because he should just be you know what? Let me get him. You see the dude going off. I got him. I play pickup ball, and I tell people that all the time, but that's also my only contribution on the court. So I got him. Hey, let me get him. Don't even worry about it. Don't expect any points from me. But anyway, and so I just feel it's mostly Bud's fault. but it is a thing where Giannis needs to up that. He needs to have that killer mentality. And it's just, I think there needs to be a change. I don't know if it's because, Giannis didn't grow up, in America. And so it's like, it's a little different. Like he's a little bit nicer. He does have some animal in him. I've seen it.
Yeah.
But he just doesn't do it all the time. And I think he just needs that. He needs that switch change because that was his moment. Or even like Game 7 would be his moment. Obviously, we're recording this and, Game 7 will be done by then. But hey, now is when you turn it on. This is when you turn it on, or this is when, they look back and say, oh, you weren't good enough, or you quit on your team.
But see, that's the thing my problem has been with Giannis, and I've talked about it on the pod, is that anytime I see the animal or dog in him in that way, it's from an emotional standpoint, it almost feels immature compared to like him really getting in his bag game-wise. Like usually I see him like start fouling hard and like you could just see he's frustrated in some sort of way. But to me, it's like the way you fuel it. It's Giannis's team. And I don't even know if he realizes that it's Giannis's team. Because I can't see, there's a bunch of other dudes I'm looking around the league to be like, I can never see a situation where Draymond doesn't go and be like, I don't give a shit what you said, Kerr. I'm guarding him now. Like, this is what's happening. Or Jimmy Butler. There's a ton of dudes that will be like, I'm just going to take this, I'm going to take it over. Giannis, I don't know if it's these too nice or whatever, but he's got to get in it. And I'm still blaming Bud as far as the schemes that they are putting that man in. They won the game last game because, in my opinion, they went to what Giannis is good at, which is not fucking taking threes. It's use your physicality. Use your physical abilities, your physical gifts. Get down there in the paint and make them hurt. That's what you do. It takes away, it drains something from the other team. Like if he just does that, you need to have those moments. And I know
he did that in that Game 5, like when he had Harden on him and Harden said, "I don't need help."
Right.
Like if he did it at that moment, that's when you show up. No, he took a fucking fade. You're not Kobe. He took a fadeaway 16-footer. Like you're not good enough to hit that shot yet. Like I don't care if you've practiced it, you've worked on it. That's not your shot yet. That's the shot they want you to take. And so until you can get in your head that, oh, I'm going to take what I want instead of what they're going to give me. And I know, and no discredit to Harden. Harden's a good post player. Completely underrated. He's a good post defender. I get that now. But you are 7 foot. Exactly. He's playing on one leg and you are 7 foot tall.
He is.
And he is 6'6".
And he's hobbled. And there's no reason you shouldn't just be going in his face every single possession.
To him. Like if you're talking Shaq,
exactly what KD did to be successful. He took his 12-foot shots that he nails every time, and he did it over and over and over again because it works.
But that's the thing. KD is just complete. Like KD
right,
is just
but what
complete.
I'm saying is there's no reason that if you're Giannis, that you don't have the ball in your hands in the post if Harden's on you. Like, get it, face him up, put the ball in the basket. Harden can barely jump right now. You can just get it, dunk on him. Get it, dunk. Like there's no reason
rip his heart out of his chest.
And the thing is, I feel like Giannis is like, well, I could take that, but if I step back right here, I'll have an open. No, get fouled and put the ball in the cylindrical hole. Boom. Like it's once he understands that, he'll be unstoppable. But the way it's going, it's like game in, game out, whether or not he's gonna play his game as opposed to playing with the game that's around him, which doesn't make any sense.
And I think his mentality is like, I'm gonna show you I can make these shots instead of I can't make these shots necessarily. I need to go ahead and like attack you in the paint or whatever. But he doesn't do that.
I'm telling you right now, I've been saying it from the very beginning. There are guys that I look at in the post where I was like, you could be an era defining player. I look at Shaq. I look at Dwight for a little bit.
No, not with that hair. He lost it all for me.
I'm sorry, in his prime. I'm saying back in Orlando.
In your lap.
Back in Orlando, Dwight, like shoulders Dwight, back before he started doing weird shit and collecting snakes and stuff. Like old school Dwight had it for a moment. That's why the Superman moniker, right? Yep. And that's where him and Shaq kept going back. If Giannis could just get it in his head that he needs to play that way, that's why I fucking hate this new NBA shit. Everybody thinks they're the goddamn unicorn to be able to do all these fucking mid-range shit. I think Joel Embiid has a lot of people fooled because of his mid-range. Like there's just, but the thing with Joel is that push comes to shove, the motherfucker will back you the fuck down and do what he needs to do. And I think that there just needs to be that mentality from Giannis. And if he can do it, I don't think there'd be a more unstoppable force in the NBA right now. They just don't do it with him, and it's so frustrating to watch because I see so much talent in him, and it's just.
All right, so let's get our predictions for Game 7. So it's tonight, I think at 8 or 8:30, one of those two. I'm going with the Nets. Can't pick against KD. PG County. Can't pick against KD.
I'm going with the Nets as well for completely different reasons. That I think if Harden is like 10% healthier, and I expect Giannis to do Giannis things where he is going to take that pull-up jumper instead of driving. I think Nets by like 3. I think it'll be close, but I'm taking the Nets.
I am going Milwaukee. But I'm going
Milwaukee.
Milwaukee.
Milwaukee anyway.
I was going Milwaukee from the beginning of the series, right? Until Brooklyn just started fucking taking over, and I was like, oh my God, this is like a bad choice. But to me, I'm picking Milwaukee regardless. But to me, the key to the game, do not take a 3-point attempt, Giannis. My over and under is 2. If he can keep it under 2, they win this game.
3 on the first shot.
Jesus Christ! I'm going
I hope they get.
I'm going to lose my shit. But I don't see a scenario in which he shoots more than twice from 3 that they win that game. Because that to me means that he is still stuck in his old bullshit ways, and they didn't learn the key and the recipe, which is what they got done last game. And I don't think it was a situation where Brooklyn was like, all right, we're going to rest up and put all our cards in for Game 7. I think they were legitimately trying. And I think that what you're seing right now is that, look, KD is great, but he's also, 32 years old?
Yes.
Hey, what's wrong with being 32? You watch your mouth.
Yeah, you're just circling the drain. So
fuck you.
I'm 32. I've been 32 for a few months now. I'm just giving you well, there you go. Like, it's just, to me, KD did historically, I haven't seen guys take over the way that KD did and expect that to happen more than once in the series. I think you just saw this is KD's. Come on, we just said this might be the greatest performance that KD ever put together.
Well, yeah,
you really think there's going to be a repeat? Because I think he's going to
not a repeat, but good enough.
How many records can your records break?
He needs to do. Look, he had to play absolute lights out, and they only won by 6.
And for
like
the
lights
out, winning,
perfect.
But you're ignoring the fact that Giannis played a really good game.
But is Milwaukee or Brooklyn a better team right now?
Who has the most pressure?
Whoever wins is the better team, in my opinion. And I picked the Nets in 7, and it's looking like to me Nets in fucking 7. That's 2 points for me.
Did you,
if I get that correct?
Did you have pancakes or waffles for breakfast? Because I'd say you're waffling right now, but I'm saying like if Harden is like 10% healthier than he was last game, which he probably will be, because Kyrie's out, right?
Kyrie's out.
Yeah. Look, KD doesn't have to play 48 minutes and be lights out to beat them.
He doesn't.
It's honest. If Milwaukee has a perfect game, there's nothing that can stop them. The problem is with Milwaukee, their perfect games are few and far between. Yes. And it all runs through Giannis. And if Giannis starts fucking up early, game over.
K-Dot, there's no way you could listen to the things that you just said about Giannis and then be like, yeah, and he'll beat KD in the Game 7. Like, are you like, come on, fam?
The only thing that I'm holding my hat on is the last game. Like, they won, and they didn't win. It wasn't close. They won. And the thing to me is that, like, there's a certain way that Milwaukee can play. If I'm looking at those teams lined up, with Harden being a hobbled fat man and being Kyrie's out, I think Milwaukee's more talented. I don't think it's close. And to me, if I'm looking at Milwaukee and I'm saying that, like, this is look, we've been talking all this playoff about it being the change of the guard, right? Giannis is sort of one of these tweener types where he's might be too old to be considered as far as the Luka and the rest of these guys, but he has to be almost the elder statesman of this young crop. And he has to take the leap. And it has to happen at some point. Look, if I'm looking at everything, I can understand. I would not fault anybody for taking Brooklyn. Not at all. If we're looking at KD being able to put it on, and I understand if they just get enough help from Lopez, like they could do it, but I still think this, to me, I'm going with what I thought about at the beginning of the playoffs, what I thought about going into this season. We're supposed to start seeing this new era. And to me, I want to see Giannis and Joel go at it. That's what I want to see, because I think that's important and a good thing for me to see as far as basketball goes. So maybe I'm just holding my hat on that. If I'm wrong, I get it. I totally get it. But I'm rolling with what I thought previously, and I'm hoping that Bud and these guys get their heads out of their fucking asses and realize that there's just a way to do it.
All right.
So basically, you're just a very hopeful person, because despite your dislike for Bud and your knowing that Giannis isn't the guy we need him to be yet, you're like, they're gonna win the game.
I feel like it's got to happen at some point. And like,
you think that point is Game 7 against fucking Kevin Durant?
When is not the best time to step up? Like, what other opportunity could you have to step up more than better than this?
Of course, it's an opportunity, but it's not the moment that necessarily he'll do it. Like, okay, I think
if it doesn't happen for this night, it'll never happen.
That's not true. That's not true at all. I think I just want to say this one thing. I think Giannis is where KD was about 5 years ago when his ass lost a 3-1 when he was up 3-1 and got that ass beat by the Warriors, and then he had to do some like soul search, because like if we ever want to get into it, like KD, where was this KD in OKC? Like where was this KD when he was up 3-1? He had all he had to do was win one game, and he let Steph lock him up like a couple times down the stretch. You know what I'm saying? So like it can happen. It can happen like later on in your career, even though, and you can still be that dog. So that's all I got.
All right. So we all have our predictions. We'll see what happens.
I feel bad about it already. All right.
Yep. Now another Game 7 Sunday night. Hawks and Sixers. Yeah.
How did we get here?
Ice cold Trae Young.
No. Ice cold Sixers dunked him in a fucking ice bath. Like,
actually had a conversation with a Sixers fan today about a possible trade between the Mavericks.
No, let's not even start with that shit, because the
I am
Mavericks,
trying to unload KP onto anybody.
No, nobody wants him, especially not the Sixers. You're gonna put a potential conference finalist.
The first thing I was like, hey, how about KP for Ben Simmons?
Dude, no one wants to go to the Mavs. If everything that's coming out is true, no one wants to go there.
Well, we'll get into the Mavs more.
Yeah, we'll get to them. But Game 7 tomorrow night. Looking at the Game 6, it pissed me off even more about that Seth Curry trade, because he kept him in there, and I knew he was gonna be.
Yeah, he's
great.
he's one of the best 3-point shooters of all time.
No, he is the best, like percentage wise.
Yeah, but like put him up there based on level of talent and how much he's actually playing.
He's already over the minimum amount. And
so we're just basing it on the baseline, like, he's just over the baseline and shooting.
The minimum,
look, he's awesome. Don't get me wrong.
Tobias played 39 minutes.
What are you talking about?
They played 39 minutes last night.
I just hear the word Curry and I just cringe. So
yeah, he has the best percentage ever. Or I think he's behind Steve Kerr, maybe.
No, he was in front of him at the beginning of the season. So
he was. All right.
Oh, look,
I just know he was better than Steph.
It's going to be A or B. The Sixers beating Atlanta, or the Sixers beating the Sixers, because that's how it's gone all series. Again, Atlanta is not as talented. They're a good team. And like, look, if Horter goes off or one of those other people, great. But it's been a Sixers implosion every time they've lost, and a significantly awesome implosion every time they've lost. And look, what better time to implode than Game 7? What better time? I'm taking Atlanta. Just because fuck Philly. Fuck all of them. I hate their teams. They have the worst fans. Like, they should win. There's no reason they shouldn't. Atlanta. Take him.
All right. Who wants to go next?
Sixers. That's it. Sixers.
All right.
I mean, if Embiid gets dunked on and like all of a sudden his leg's broken again.
Yeah, that John Collins dunk was nasty.
Whew.
All right, the John
too.
Collins dunk. Just in all, he choked him out on the way out. Like, was nobody bothered? Like, it felt like.
I mean, he hit him in the face. He hit him in the face.
To me, it felt like something that, like, at Rucker Park, we would have all said, "Oh shit!" On the NBA court, it felt dirty. I don't know. It felt dirty to me. He used his fucking arm to like leverage up. It looked filthy. I don't know. It
was filthy.
It looked like a fucking foul of some sort.
I don't give a shit. Right. Like, you got dunked on. Like,
yeah, and then Joel fucking hit the ground like, yo, my nose is broken. Like, what the fuck?
Get your bitch ass up.
Yeah, get up, get back down the court. That's how big boys play.
You make it worse laying there.
Hey, he did, and they won the game.
Huh?
He did, and they won the game. He got back up, and they won the fucking game. Look, I've been saying as far as the Trae Young thing, Trae Young as far as the dudes that I've been saying as far as the young crop, I've been looking at guys that I thought arrived. So, like, earlier on, I was like, Donovan, he's here. Mitchell, he's there. Trae Young was the last guy that I was kind of whether or not he actually took the leap. I'm still on the fence, and I understand why people let me unpack this for a second.
Unpack it.
Sixers were my pick going into this year to win the championship. You know, I've been riding really high on the Sixers. Yeah, I'm also usually really riding high on one particular man, which is Ben motherfucking Simmons. And to say that I've been a Ben Simmons apologist would be to take it lightly. Because I've been saying how much of a superstar and how I would never trade anybody for him and this, that, and the other. I am no longer defending Ben Simmons.
Oh.
He has now crossed over into a realm in which I want to choke him out my goddamn self. Like, and the thing that I'm looking at the Trae Young thing is that we were talking about Giannis in the sense of, hey, I want this guy, I'm going to D up and I'm going to do what I need to do with him. Ben has been staying the fuck away from Trae. And outside of that, I texted you guys when watching the game yesterday, it was like, was Ben trying to foul out? Like,
that foul was a flop, though.
No, hold on. The what I was looking at earlier on in the game was that it looked like Ben didn't want to be there. It looked like Ben was going to be more comfortable on the bench than he was on the court. And I think with Ben more than anything right now is I've never known a superstar who's a liability on the court when you're in the fourth quarter and shit comes down to it. Because they can do the hack-a-Shaq shit with him. He can't do anything offensively. At least with Shaq, you could throw it down to him in the post and he can do what he needs to do. You literally can't do anything with Ben.
Gobert. Him too. Rudy Gobert.
No, fuck him.
No. That's a good comparison.
It is.
That's a good comparison.
It is.
We'll talk about it in a second.
And that's why, like, the Rudy Gobert thing and when I was talking about defensive player of the year and all that shit. But the thing with Ben is that everything that I've been saying about how, like, he could shut down all 5 positions on the court. He could do this. He could do that. Motherfucker, if you can't even attempt to stop Trae when he's going off, and I know you can't do anything offensively for us, why the fuck are you there? What are you here for? What are you doing? What are you providing?
Instagram pics.
Nah, so I saw Ben try to check Trae, right? And what happened was what the Sixers knew was going to happen. Trae was going to move around him. He's too fucking quick, and he's going to get a foul call on Ben Simmons, right? It's kind of the same situation that happened with the Clippers and Mavs when Pat Beverly was trying to guard Luka, like the opposite. Like Luka's a bigger guard and Beverly's smaller. He couldn't do shit with him, and then they just sat Beverly down. It's like you're not good on offense.
Trae Young is tiny. Ben Simmons is not. Ben Simmons, as much as he's a big guy, and I get Trae being fast, right? What you don't do is see it happen once, and then you say, all right, we're going to let this go. If you're Ben Simmons, he's going to be a defensive guy the way that he is, you've got to guard this man and figure out how it is you need to play against him. You've got to figure that out and work that out within your own goddamn head. If you're supposed to be the guy that we look at, if you're the guy who's not going to work on your fucking shot, then you better learn how to fucking do it defensively. Because there's under no circumstances in which you should be that. Why the fuck do we have you out there then? What's the point? Then also, you know who else is going to get smoked if they don't fucking win this game? Doc We've done enough to fucking say that it's everybody else except you. Yeah, you're likable, but you are a fucking choke artist if you don't fucking get this done. It's over. There's no more excuses for this fucking team ever again. Fucking clean house if they don't win this shit.
The Clippers
Clear it out.
The Clippers ran it
sound
back.
like a
And where
wrestler.
did they go?
You sound like a wrestler.
I have one thing to add.
Go on.
K-Dot, you should definitely voice cartoon characters. Like, I mean that from the bottom of my heart, and I mean it as a compliment. I just want you to know that.
Thank you.
I think you should.
I didn't mean it as a compliment, but
I was thinking about going into my Macho Man Randy Savage voice.
yeah, you kind of did. You went in that bag for a little bit. You dipped into that bag. But
It was like Macho Man times Stephen A.
The Macho Man. Stephen A. No, I'm sorry. But
like that's how you say Mbappe.
look, Philadelphia, I think, has a team that I think is worthy of a championship. I honestly think if Ben plays defense the way that he's supposed to play defense,
If he plays offense.
if he plays offense as far as facilitating for other people, like, and you have the shooters around and they're clicking, like what we said about Seth and all these guys and Tobias. Because I mean, you look at Seth and you look at Tobias, they played more minutes than anybody else last night, and they scored what I think it was 24 apiece. Yeah, 24 apiece. Like, there's a certain thing that Ben can do to facilitate, but right now, with as close as these games have been, you can't be a liability in the fourth quarter when we need you to step the fuck up. And the thing is that, to me, on the offensive side, I've said this in the beginning of the year, it's not even that he needs to make any shots. Just threaten to shoot. Literally, if you just threaten to shoot, that brings a whole other facility to your game, a whole other facet to your fucking game that nobody has to worry about right now.
You get other people open if you fake the shot.
It's like, as much as I've been frustrated as far as the Giannis thing, that I'll let it be known here because I've been frustrated about it for a while.
Wait, you're frustrated?
Shut up. The aspect of the Ben Simmons thing that's frustrating me right now is that I have to admit that I'm fucking wrong. Like, I've just been wrong about Ben. Like, he's not a superstar.
Say it again.
You can't be a superstar if you can't even threaten anything on fucking offense at this point. And especially when push comes to shove, and you're supposed to be the guy that takes that next step or takes the next level, especially in the playoffs, and you are nowhere to be fucking seen. I'm sorry.
I didn't hear you. Can you say it again?
Oh, fuck you.
So, Kyle Kuzma for Ben Simmons?
You know what? Don't even ask me because I still don't know. That's the thing is, like, I still look at Ben and I'm like, it used to be hopeful, like, hey, I'm going to hold out hope that maybe Doc can talk to him and, like, maybe he'll do it. And now that you're like, dude, we're in elimination time, you're still not even trying. Like, what?
Right,
what?
well, we'll see what happens because, I mean, I haven't been paying attention as much as y'all have, so my thoughts are a little bit different.
But give me Philly.
Okay. Yep, you do the same shit. All right, so you pick.
I want to see, like, I'm just rocking with what I had at the beginning, and if my teams are still there that I had from the beginning, I'm still gonna rock with them. And I still, what I'm dreaming about is Joel and Giannis going at it, and us seeing the two titans of this era like going toe to toe, and that's what I want to see. But the NBA has clearly known that they don't give a fuck about me or what it is I want to see. So everybody just keeps jacking up fucking three-pointers, and I want to kill myself.
So we're going to see KD and Trae Young. Okay, cool. So let's move on to the Western Conference. We had Game 6, I believe it was last night or the night before, one of them. Clippers and Jazz. I think it was last night.
Was.
Last night.
Yep. Terrence Mann. And
there goes that man.
I gotta say, playoff P is back. Respect to him. You gotta respect it. You have to. Like, Kawhi.
He did everything he needed to do.
Yep.
And then Terrence Mann was going off. He was the hot hand. Kept getting him the ball. He kept making those shots. He ended up being just short of 40, right? He had 39, I think.
Terrence Mann, yeah.
Terrence Mann.
Uh-huh.
Look, Terrence Mann is not as good as he was last night. But, man, is that a cool thing to tell your grandkids or what? Yeah, I shot 39 to get the Clippers into their first Western Conference Finals in history.
And his cards value went up.
I mean, it's already down because he's going to shoot like
Nah, I checked.
Next game.
Nah, hey, if I list that motherfucker up right now, it's gonna sell.
I guess, but like, look,
I should have sent that one for Grady.
Paul George. No, that's a terrible, terrible idea.
Nah, should sell for like $250.
Worth that for a day. Look,
And if I sell it, I'm happy. Go ahead.
As long as Paul George can continue to facilitate the way he did and just play his game, man, they're devastatingly good. Like Kawhi not being Kawhi aside, like the best player on the court is going to be on the Clippers pretty much no matter who they play, unless they play the Nets.
Exactly.
Like if
Paul George better than Donovan Mitchell?
Yes. And okay, so here's the thing.
He's a more complete player than Donovan Mitchell, and that's what makes him more dangerous.
And he's better. Like, okay,
and
no disrespect to if he's healthy. No disrespect to Donovan Mitchell at all, because I think he's definitely like top 20 player in the NBA. I'd have to think about it, but I'm pretty sure he's top 20. But Paul George is probably like top 12, top 10, something like that. But somebody was talking to me and they were just saying I was talking about like how Paul George can win. I basically said Paul George can win one game. Once it was like notified that like Kawhi would be out. And so they were like, play out. They're like, pandemic P, are you crazy? And I'm like, fam, he's better than Donovan Mitchell. He had like 2 bad series and he became pandemic P. Like, let's not just like totally forget who he was. Like, he went up 2-1 against Bron. Like, he's had some good playoff series. He's just had a couple where he struggled as well.
Well, the pandemic's over, so no more pandemic P.
No more pandemic. Pandemic's over, and he had another bad series, but like that's over with. And now, like
his therapist,
Yeah. But I think now is his time. And if Kawhi comes back, that's going to be a great finals.
I actually think the MVP of this last game were the 17,000 fans in Staples Center. And the reason I say that is that we've been talking about energy with the Clippers, right? I'm looking at what it is they need as far as a spark to really make that team go. Kawhi, silent in the zone. When he's in the zone, it's like, leave him alone. Just let him cook, right? Paul George is not that. He wants to be a rah guy, but as you've heard the stories in the locker room, every time he tries to do it, everybody's basically like, Paul, shut the fuck up and get out of here. Like, there is an element where he was cooking with them young cats last night, and the arena and the vibe you got, they were having fun. They were having a lot of fucking fun. Like, you just see the smiles on everybody's fucking faces as they were playing. And to me, that to me is what I've always looked at with the Clipper team, is that they have talent. They're not devoid of talent at all. It's just a matter of like how it is in a playoff series. You get them to do that closeout, or how it is you get them to ride that high you see some of these other teams get. It's the same thing when you look at like Atlanta and New York, that series, where you can see that just the energy level was a certain way. Or even in the Brooklyn game, I give Brooklyn fans a ton of shit, but sure enough, the motherfucker showed out last time, and it was fun. And I think that there's a certain amount of energy you got to kind of have to do that. I think the series against the Suns is going to be a great one. I actually, like, right now, seeing as far as what's happening with Kawhi, I got the Suns. I'm riding that hot hand.
You're going.
Oh, am I going too far? Sorry. I don't know. It was nice to see Paul George get it done. I actually think when it's all said and done, there's going to be a bigger asterisk on this season than there was last season. I think this season is just weird as shit. You talk about the short time frame, the amount of stars that got hurt. Mm-hmm. I think when you look through that list of teams that are now playing and still playing, you're like, what the fuck? Like, this doesn't feel normal. It just, to me, this season is just a fucking weird one.
I believe we talked about this before the start of the season, when LeBron first made the quote saying, like, yeah, I'm gonna take some time off, like, to start the season because like it's too short of a turnaround.
Yep.
Now, I don't know if we gave him shit, but we probably did. But now looking at what happened, he was right.
Yeah, you're seeing the teams that probably got bounced sooner that just have more in them to go play this season compared to the guys that continue playing through the playoffs. Like, I just think it's one of those things. Looking back, there's going to be a lot of things that we're going to have to unravel. I think next season is going to be a huge thing as far as maybe a return back to normal, or maybe we're just seeing a new era of play. I did read something today that with the Clippers now going to the conference finals, now the longest drought in the NBA is the Wizards, which I don't like us being there, but yeah. But it's just this season just feels fucking weird right now. I don't know. Nothing makes sense.
Well,
I did see both were. They were both like not necessarily. I wouldn't do an asterisk because like that's just not my thing. But this season and last season were both like super weird in terms of how like a champion will be like determined. Because like this season because of health and everything, and honestly last season because of like truncated season not lockout. And then like the bubble. So
yeah. I think the way that a team had to be built mentally last year, when you look at LA, the way that they were built and the kind of camaraderie that they had being in that bubble, you gotta kind of have a team that likes each other. And actually, I think there's a lot of intangible things last year looking at those teams. You see Jimmy Butler has his guys and how tight they were. And you had LA and these are handpicked guys, how tight they are. I think there's something with that being in the bubble together that kind of drives you through that. And right now, it's just health. It's health and youth, really, I think is what is driving most of these things.
I did see an interesting stat in regards to the Clippers and Jazz series. So it said that the Jazz are now 0-1 ever since John Stockton and Cole Beasley came out with their anti-vax statements.
Well, I mean, Cole Beasley's from Dallas, isn't he? Nobody's that surprised.
Well, we can get to Dallas a little bit later.
There's a fucking Buffalo Bill. I know that.
Yep.
Hey, they got wings up there. That's all I know.
And Benny. Wings and Benny. All right. So, the Clippers will be facing the Suns because Suns in 4. And Suns in 4. That video is still hilarious to me. Suns swept the Nuggets. And I think Devin Booker got in contact with that fan.
He did.
Shut out of the Nuggets fans, and he's going to give them courtside seats in the signed jersey.
Yep.
He's the new mascot.
Yep.
As he should be.
He's going to be Devin Booker's bodyguard. So that'll be funny to see. And it's also going to be Chris Paul playing against the Clippers in the playoffs. And I think what was it? He was about to fight somebody before, and he had to like go through a tunnel or some shit. You remember that?
Yeah, the tunnel shit that happened. Yeah.
He went through like the home tunnel or the away.
Wasn't it against the was that against the Rockets?
I don't know.
Or I don't remember, but it was funny. I think. Yeah,
well, that's if Chris Paul plays.
Yeah,
He's
but
playing.
The interesting thing is that the winner gets to play Blake Griffin.
Well, as I looked this up earlier today, he was still in COVID protocol as of like 2 hours ago. So,
well, I mean, he tested positive before. They didn't confirm that it was him, but there was a report that came out that said one NBA player has tested positive in the last how many ever weeks, and so it's obviously him. I don't think Chris is vaccinated. I don't care. It's none of my business. If he is or not, it's none of my business. But if he is or not, if he isn't, that's just gonna that means he'll be out for 2 weeks. That means he has to be out for 2 weeks.
Is it not confirmed that he was? I thought it was confirmed he was vaccinated.
I didn't see anything that confirmed that he was vaccinated because I don't think
I keep seeing people saying he is. But I haven't seen like an official thing.
Because I mean, him being vaccinated just speaks more to the basketball gods saying "fuck you, Chris Paul. You're not going to be here as far as the playoffs goes." Because the likelihood of being vaccinated, you go hug your mother in the stands, and now you're fucking out. This seems like the most Chris Paul thing to have happen. No.
Well, I mean, some people have good karma.
Yeah, because he's a
Some
fucking
people
asshole.
don't.
Some people don't, man. That sucks.
Yeah, I really hope he plays because I want that to be a good series.
I hope he plays too, man, because I love Chris Paul. Like I really, for me, there's no loser in this Western Conference Finals as far as seeing somebody like go on. Like I love to see Kawhi and PG go on and play the Nets. I love to see D Book like get a chance to show his stuff against the Nets. But yeah, and I just want a competitive series.
Yeah, I think it will be.
I just think I'm going Suns, and I'm going because I think Booker has fully arrived, and I think Booker is just a force. I'm picking the hot hand. I know that they haven't played in a few days. I mean, it's been a little bit since they played. And if Chris Paul coming out of COVID protocol, I still don't think Chris Paul misses that much time. He might miss a game, just based on everything that I was seeing. But I'm hard pressed to pick anything against the Suns when you have the Clippers without Kawhi.
And I was seeing reports with Kawhi, it was an ACL injury.
Yeah, they're concerned that it's an ACL injury.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I feel like they
haven't said anything.
They should know by now.
Oh, they know. They're just not saying anything.
It'll be interesting to see who's healthy, but I think I also have the Suns, just because they've been so dominant.
Okay.
I have the Clippers, and because the best player on the court, pending health, will be on the Clippers, in my opinion. But of course, the CP3 Devin Booker duo could beat Paul George if he's without Kawhi. I'd say, but I'm going Clippers in 7.
Here's the question though: with CP3 potentially having COVID, does this bring back Pandemic P? I don't know.
Wow.
Stay tuned.
Stay tuned.
All right. Let's move on to the part of the pod I did not want to talk about.
Wunderbar.
The Mavericks.
Go on.
Since the last time we all talked, some shit has happened.
It has.
Some shit has gone down for real.
First, Donnie Nelson's out. He was fired. The GM of the Mavericks for the past 24 years. Then Rick Carlisle resigned.
Bye, Rick.
Didn't say, like, it wasn't one of those parted ways bullshits. He said,
No, it was.
No.
Yeah, well, not parted ways, but he said it was his choice.
Yeah, no, he said, I quit.
Yeah.
And he
leaving.
put out a statement, like saying, like, hey, this wasn't mutual. I told Mark I'm out. Now, when that comes up, you think about it and you're like, all the tension that we saw between Rick and Luka was actually like, it was a fire. It was really there. It wasn't just smoke.
Yes.
And to be honest, I side with Rick on most of that shit. Like based on what I said when I saw in game. Like I still have issues with Luka emotionally during the game. So I mean, that is what it is. Of course, like the Athletic just reported on everything and just killed everything. I don't want to talk about this shit, man.
It's the hard stuff that you have to talk about.
I'll give you a little information. Just based off what the Athletic reported, little quick tidbits. So for the Mavericks, there was tension between Luka and Rick. And there was also tension with Haralabob. I hope I'm saying his name correctly.
Vulgaris?
Yes, I wasn't gonna. Hey, Valar Margulis. You know, like that's all I got for you. So I didn't want to butcher his name.
Former pro gambler, who's now the quantitative analytics guy for Mark Cuban.
Yes, and there's been some issues with him, and basically what it seems to be, if you read between the lines, it seemed to be like either Haralabob or Rick Carlisle and Donnie Nelson, and it was Haralabob wins and the other two lose, basically.
Oh, add Luka into that too, because Luka doesn't like that dude either.
Yeah, but Luka's still there, so he.
There was a report. This came out a while ago. I was talking with Trez about this. there was a game when I think they were playing the Pelicans, and Luka hits a shot or he gets fouled or some shit.
Oh,
And
he looked
he's
over
like
at him.
screaming at somebody from the Mavericks, and I'm like, the fuck? And
He
it
was
was
screaming
that,
at Haralabob.
Yep.
Yeah, he was screaming
So
at Haralabob.
I saw my first comparison that made me giggle when it came to Mark Cuban. I saw a Mark Cuban Dan Snyder comparison for the first time in the sense of what it is that Dan did with Bruce Allen and Vinny Serrato in the front office there at Washington, where you have this guy who's your right-hand guy.
Okay.
No one knows why this guy is your right-hand guy, but you give him carte blanche to do whatever it is that needs to happen. And when you do, when it's not somebody who should have that position, when you do have guys that actually know the game, and you have players that want to back the guys that know the game, but you're showing this favoritism, it's a problem. It's the same thing that's happened in Houston with this pastor or whatever the fuck it is that I just read the text from Ryan. It's just so when you're looking at the Mavericks overall, the comparison that I'm seeing online as far as the Dan Snyder Mark Cuban thing, look, we're not really comparing Mark Cuban and Dan Snyder. There's ways in which you could never really compare those two dudes. The only things, the comparisons that really exist is young, rich guys with full control over their teams, and they like to be involved. Mark has a much higher success rating than Dan Snyder does, but with that comes the same thing that Dan did with Vinny Serrato and Bruce Allen is what you're starting to see with this Bob character in Dallas, which is now you're seeing some articles kind of floating that Bob is out, but nothing confirmed and nothing from the organization, I think, has come out about what the status is of this Bob dude. And when you hear some of these things come out, like the Athletic article, you'd expect a guy like Mark Cuban, who's so vocal, to come out and really set the record straight. The fact that he hasn't makes me feel as though there is something there to it. And if that's the case, we are seeing an implosion of epic proportions for a team that we thought might be a piece or two away from being something special. If they've got to blow it up, if you're a coach looking at that job and you're seeing these guys walk away, why the fuck do you want to be there?
Luka.
Because Luka Doncic is there.
Yeah. Luka Doncic is there, but as we've all said across this league, you can't do it with one guy. You can't. And if the other,
but you need one of the one guys, though.
You need one of the one guys. I get that, right? But if you're looking at the other standpoint, is KP is the dude you got to move one to try to upgrade for, right? Unless you're going to run it back with KP and Luka, which I doubt anybody's going to want to do because the friction that even exists there. There's just a lot of friction with the team. So what I'm looking at as far as the KP thing is, I looked at that Kemba Walker trade is something along the lines of what they're going to have to try to do for KP.
Going too far. All right, hold on.
I was just trying to unravel your entire franchise because I fucking hate him.
Why the fuck do you hate him? Just because I like him? Like, the fuck? Okay.
No,
true.
They entered the Shark
fucking
Tank.
Hater. All right, so
They entered the Shark Tank. It's all over.
I want to move back to the Mavs.
That's how they should find a coach.
What?
They should do Shark Tank to find a coach.
We should do Shark Tank to find an owner.
What?
Right, so
we're the most woke franchise, dog. Come on, get at it.
Right, so
the Washington football team, baby.
Y'all definitely were late, super late to the game.
But now we're the best.
No, you're not even the best. Not even close.
Name a more woke franchise than us.
Tampa Bay.
That's just Bruce Arians, not the franchise. The Glazers are highly
the franchise hired Bruce Arians.
True that.
Yeah,
but the Glazers.
Man, come on. Look, going back to the Mavericks, right? Some news has come out since like this story originally from the Athletic came out, and I got to say, the Athletic is up 3-0 on the Mavs right now.
They're finna sweep.
Yeah, it's not looking good. And they hired Dirk to be like the assistant GM to look for the coach and the new GM.
I don't know why they did that.
No, I mean Mark has always done that. Like if you look,
it's to cover up.
No, like
this seems like a publicity stunt to me.
That's what I think.
I would agree with you if Mike Finley wasn't with Mark the whole time.
Yeah, but I think of Michael Finley as a basketball mind. No disrespect to Dirk. I just don't really think of him like that, and maybe I'm wrong in that thinking. Yeah. And if I'm wrong, that's fine. And I know he's a smart basketball player. That's not what I'm saying.
No, Dirk has been talked about as coming back to the franchise since he retired.
It's just bad timing.
The timing is just fucking terrible. But it's been in the works like forever. And if you're Dirk, it's like, all right, shit is going left right now. Let me come back and try to fix this shit. So, I mean, like, what do you expect?
It feels like it's a better version of Bruce Allen. And the reason I say that is that the Bruce Allen thing, the way that it was sold to us as Washington fans was, you remember George Allen? You remember our coach that made you feel all lovey-dovey? Like made you feel as though we were a winning franchise, made you feel all these things. Remember, this guy's got the same last name. Here's this dude. I think Dirk's a better version of that. And I'm not trying to take anything away from Dirk. I just never seen him try to work anything as far as a front office role. So I guess the jury's out. Maybe he's great at it because he's always been a smart dude. All right. And like I've always said, Dirk's always invited to the fucking barbecue. Dude's legit. But it just, to me right now, Mark Cuban has never.
What do you guys think Dirk is doing? Like, because I feel like we're on the different pages.
No, I know he's not like the GM. I know he's like help. He's basically consulting is what he's doing.
He's helping them find a head coach and a new GM.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah, I get that.
But that's the thing. Bringing in a guy to do that, the consulting thing or whatever, you either have him involved in that process, which is a big deal to be involved in that process. If you're not and you're just the figurehead, then like it goes back to it feels like a publicity stunt. Like it just feels as though there is no more vocal guy than Mark. You're not hearing from Mark. You're hearing, here's Dirk going to do, like, all you guys love Dirk, right? Yeah, cool. He's going to help us try to figure this out because he's always put our franchise first. But we don't know how involved Dirk is going to be. We don't know.
I think, I'm maybe not as extreme as K-Dot as far as of that opinion, but I agree with him in that I think it's just like, hey, we got the Dirk stamp on this guy. Like, forget the Haralabob stuff. We got the Dirk stamp too. Like, this is who we want. Even if like I don't know if he'll be super involved or like slightly involved, like he'll be a part of the interview process. He could just be like on the board for that. And who knows? I don't know. But it does feel a little bit that way. My thing personally, I just hope they hire Chauncey. I don't know who they're going to go for. I think Chauncey would be perfect for them. Literally. And I don't know, there aren't a whole bunch of coaches. It would be smart for Boston to go with Carlisle, whatever. I don't want to get ahead of the coaching carousel that's going on. So yeah. All
right. So in terms of the coaching changes, right? Of course, Chauncey would be great. When Rick left, right? Or when Rick resigned, it brought to my mind a different story that came up maybe like a week ago in regards to when the Blazers were looking for a head coach, right? Do you remember that whole debacle when Dame said who he wanted? And then Jason Kidd was like, no, like, it's not interested.
Allegedly said who he wanted because Dame came out and didn't say, well, another report came out and said he didn't say that.
All right. But, and Jason Kidd like said like, yeah, that made me feel uncomfortable, like to have to address it and all this other shit.
Yeah.
And people were discussing it. They were like, you don't come out and deny like an opportunity to be looked at unless you already have something else in the works. Right?
Yeah.
And then people were like, well, Jason Kidd might be getting the Lakers job. Or he could have been talking to Mark and Rick about coming to Dallas. Who knows? He won a championship there.
He did. He did. That's not the point guard I would want, but I understand.
I know. No, I'm just saying that it just brought to mind, like, that's just an idea, random idea.
I think that you're going to see what these names sort of pop up in being what it is that's happening behind the scenes as far as people talking about the Dallas situation. Because, like, initially my thought was Terry Stotts. But then I look at – I'm just saying from a standpoint of just looking at available coaches, looking at where it is that Dallas want to do. Do you want to go something new? Like, do you do the Becky Hammond thing? Do you go –
I saw she was rumored. Yeah.
Right. Do you do the Becky Hammond thing? Do you do Terry Stotts, who's – like it has experience? Do you do the Jason Kidd, Chauncey Billups thing? The Chauncey Billups thing
already there.
Huh?
Terry Stotts was with us in Dallas when we won.
So the point that I was saying about Stotts is that to me, the Stotts name now feels as though, what does Rick tell Terry? Because I'm sure that they have a relationship.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that you're going to also see some of these other guys based on these coaching relationships, see whether or not you stay away from it. And this the other thing that I'm saying, look, is the reason I keep going back to Washington is I know how dysfunction works. I've seen dysfunction my entire life of being a fan of this team. And you start seeing some smoke in certain places, and it's like, oh, shit. Like when Washington would always look for a head coach, and you start saying, oh, this guy isn't even making the flight. Like they're going to give him everything, and they're still not going to make like the Steve Spagnuolo thing. Or when we ended up having to hire Jim Zorn because nobody else wanted the job except Jim Fossil, rest in peace. Like it's just one of those things where everything on paper about Dallas screams to me the best possible coaching position that everyone should be fighting for. You have Luka, you have Mark Cuban, who's willing to spend and will do everything to be right by you. You got a fan base that loves the team. This should be the hottest commodity coaching wise. If I'm seeing
because of the power struggle,
it is.
But that's the thing. If people are backing away, the more you start seeing people, if they back away from this, the more you're seeing.
None of that has happened, though. By the way,
I'm saying if.
Yeah, I don't think people are backing away.
Yeah, I was like, we're getting ahead of ourselves.
I get it. I'm saying if it happens.
All right. Yeah.
It's going. You're going to speak to.
If that happens,
is going to be an absolute clusterfuck.
If that happens, like we can revisit. But at the current time, I need to see what happens to the Bob guy.
I want to hear from Mark. Mark is never shy to say anything. I want to hear from Mark.
And you know what's crazy? When that whole shit about the high level exec in the Mavericks organization was doing all that creepy shit, and he had to fire him, and then he came out and he had did interviews and all that other stuff. He hasn't said anything. So it's like if you can talk about that and be on the front street for that, and you can't talk about this,
he's never been afraid to say anything ever.
Yeah.
Unless he's like, yeah, this Bob guy has me by my balls. And if you're going to come here, realize he's going to be that guy.
I think I just want to say to James' earlier point with the Jason Kidd thing. My theory when it happened initially was when that report came out was that it was BS and that it was somebody in Kidd's camp putting that out. And that, Dame doesn't really want Jason Kidd, and was somebody from Kids like camp put that out, and then he was like rebuffed it so he can kind of get his name out there or whatever.
I saw a tweet though, and then under that tweet it was just a bunch of people talking about like Jason Kidd's old like history in terms of domestic violence, like the DV stuff. Yeah, and like right after that, then Jason Kidd came out, posted a statement saying like, yeah, like I felt uncomfortable. I'm not interested in the job. I'm not looking. So I think Dame did actually say something.
Well, I don't know what he said. It was reported that he said that, but then it was reported from someone I trust a little bit more who said like Dame never uttered a word about that. Because like the original report came from somebody who was like, I don't know if you close with Dame. Like I don't know if you close. I don't know if you have like that inside track, but that's just me. So I think the Dallas stuff will be interesting. I know that they should not hire a Van Gundy. That's all I got.
They said, all right, so
I got my prediction for who will be
the next like Jason Kidd is the guy I want. Lillard told Yahoo Sports on Friday night.
Yeah.
So if Yahoo Sports is lying like that, that's nuts.
I mean, who checks Yahoo for their information anymore?
Well, they do have good reporting. Like Chris is really good. Like he's a really good reporter. Was it Chris? Because if it was Chris, then I might have to.
Yep, Chris Haynes. Yep.
Yeah,
if it was Chris.
There's some of these news outlets or online news outlets that are a lot better than we remember. I mean, BuzzFeed.
No, Yahoo Sports is like
Yahoo's
really good.
I still think Jamal Mosley ends up being the head coach, and I think it's because they're kicking the can down the road, and you're going to see more dysfunction out of this franchise over the course of next year.
Who?
Mavericks. I got them. Jamal Mosley being promoted.
No.
And I think they do it to kick this Bob can down the road. It scares me that Mark hasn't said anything, and I think it should scare you that Mark hasn't said anything. I think it's legitimately scary.
I hope it's Chauncey. That's all.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. I mean, I'm not going to project. I can't project fears.
I like Chauncey. It's the same thing I thought about the Houston job with Silas, right? I don't want somebody I like to go to somewhere that's fucking dysfunctional. Like I need to figure out what the fuck is happening in the front office before you start just hiring people.
Well, but see, I wouldn't like it. I don't know like that is a dysfunctional workplace entirely. I think it's just there is a little bit of power struggle, of course. And I don't think it's necessary. It hasn't been reported like, oh, Cuban is interfering with like, how Rick was coaching or anything. So I think it'll be fine. I think,
I
but
had tension with Rick. Like Rick was trying to like coach him, and Luka wasn't having some of that shit. And then you got the Bob dude like just being a prick to Luka, and they just don't like each other. So
if you got Bob dude who has power, Luka knowing he doesn't like Bob, but he also doesn't like Rick, but he also doesn't need to respect Rick because Bob has power.
What?
I'm saying that if you have a power struggle right now where you have a Luka Doncic, right, who has friction with Rick, right? But usually, even when you have friction with somebody, you still, as a player, all right, that's the fucking coach. He has some weight. But if you look at Rick and you're like, Bob has more fucking say than you. I don't need to even respect you. You can't have that. Not with a Luka right now, who you're on the record. You're constantly.
I didn't read that. I didn't read that.
That's like, what I'm reading into it. I'm reading that into it. I'm saying that
adding shit. Like I didn't see it.
I'm adding shit. What I'm doing is I'm filling in some of the blanks on what makes the most sense for this situation to devolve when you have a situation that shouldn't ever be that. You shouldn't have a team that has the caliber of player that they do, with an owner that they do, that should be in this sort of situation unless there's something major happening behind the scenes.
Now, let me tell you this. Now, the only way that would work to me would be that the tension's not between Bob and fucking Rick. It was between Bob and Donnie Nelson. That makes more sense to me.
I think it's all of them. I think if you have Donnie and Rick saying that we have a relationship, we know what it is that we need to do to make shit rock. And you've got this other guy who now has the say, and Mark's gonna listen to him over you guys. Then
I want to figure out who decided to bring in.
But then you have players that realize I don't need to respect that guy because that guy's the one who does everything.
That would make sense why they both left.
I'm just trying to figure out who the fuck made these trades.
You need somebody that also is going to be able to rein Luka the fuck in.
It wasn't Rick.
Who's going to have Luka? You need somebody that Luka respects.
Yeah.
I believed he respected Rick. I'll say that.
I think he did respect Rick too. I think he did respect Rick. I think they just had some issues, but I don't think it was one of those things where he necessarily had to leave. Rick left because of Bob, not because of Luka.
Right.
I think that all has stuff to do with each other. I don't think to me it's like The Wire. All the pieces matter and they all fucking gel with each other. They don't exist in vacuums.
Except for season 2.
We'll see what happens. So if Bob is there at the start of the season, if we hire somebody other than Chauncey and Jason Kidd, we'll figure it out. But at this point, we don't know shit about shit, but we'll see. All right. That wasn't the only coaching change in the past week. It was a crazy time that one day. Like it was a span of like an hour or some shit when it was like, all right, Chris Paul has COVID. Kawhi has something's wrong with his ACL. Stan Van Gundy got fired from the Pelicans.
Which he should have.
Scott Brooks left the Wizards.
Which he should have.
So in terms of the Pelicans, well, with Stan Van Gundy, right? There's also reports coming out now that people in Zion's family doesn't want him on the team.
Who cares?
I mean, if Zion doesn't want to be on the team, that's important.
No. They never said Zion doesn't want to be on the team.
I know.
They said was people in Zion's family don't want him to be on the team.
Where are they getting that from, though? Like,
is Zion said anything?
Nah.
Of course he's not going to say anything. But he did the whole interview was like, yeah, I love playing in New York.
My thing is that whether or not there's something to it is whether or not you've heard a statement from Zion's camp.
Yeah.
Like they have either to say squashing it or not, putting his family in check or not. Like is Zion having someone speak on his behalf through the grapevine so that he has plausible deniability?
If you think about it, like that's a story now.
It is a story now. And I actually look at that Pelicans job as another one that's extremely intriguing, but it's also very scary if you have a situation where Zion doesn't want to be there.
Mm-hmm. Not only that, but then look back at what JJ Redick said when he got traded and how they just flat out lied to him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but he JJ Redick. You're supposed to lie to him.
No, you're not.
No, you are.
He went to Duke.
JJ Redick.
Look, he went to Duke,
but at the
same
time,
so did Zion.
Lie to him.
I think there's a difference between like leading someone on comparing to directly lie in your face.
Right.
And I don't think
kidding, guys.
Not the only person.
I don't mean it. I'm kidding.
I know,
in
but
all
he's not
that,
the
fuck
only
JJ, but there's like he's
not
a
the only
fucking
person
Duke
that has an
boy.
issue.
But it's
JJ stands for just joshing. Just kidding with you, man.
Comedy style.
But yeah, looking at the Pelicans, they got a lot of issues themselves. Like they're all on the same page, but they're just still doing fuck shit. So
They got.
if I was Zion, I want to get out of there too.
I wouldn't want to
Like,
leave
do
Brandon
you
Ingram.
think the Pelicans are going to do anything in the near future?
no, I see Zion end up being fucking 80 2.0 like soon. Just because I don't think that it's just one of those franchises I just think are.
I just see him playing out his rookie year and just fucking off.
Yeah, I could.
They did just announce that the Pelicans were the next team most likely to relocate, and their contract is up, I believe, in 2024. So I think there is probably some worry there with the Pelicans organization that Zion will leave. So they were like, let's put this out. Hey, we can go to Vegas. You know what I'm saying? Or hey, we can go to I heard somebody say Baltimore. I was like, no, no.
Baltimore Bullets come back.
Hey, Baltimore Bullets. Hey. But like I assume like Vegas, Seattle, something like that. I could see them doing that. Like, hey, Zion, if you just wait till 2024, we're relocating to wherever.
I think that runs absolutely counter.
They're supposed to add 2 franchises.
Like, well, I mean, that doesn't have anything to do with relocating, though.
Yeah, you can still relocate.
Yeah, but they want to relocate.
But to me, that spits in the. I think that's worse for Zion. I think that it's less to do with New Orleans as a city than it is the organization. I think that it's more about, and if you're releasing shit like that, it's just more dysfunction because now there's more uncertainty. Like, am I supposed to want to come to that franchise to make it better? And I don't know if I'm going to enroll my kids in school that I'm going to have to fucking take them across the country.
He doesn't have kids.
I'm talking about other guys around him. Zion's not going to win it by himself. I'm just saying, from a coaching perspective or anything else, the last thing you want is dysfunction. You want to know you're going to have something stable that you can work on and build and win. Not, hey, we don't know what's happening here. You need something stable. And the more that you're hearing instability happening for a franchise, it's not going to work in their benefit.
And then even look at the older generation of superstars from the Pelicans, right? You had AD and Drew Holiday. AD like left and went to the Lakers. Drew Holiday's in Milwaukee. They ain't do shit together in New Orleans. And I mean, it could be the same thing with Zion and Lonzo Ball and Brandon Ingram.
Brandon Ingram is the gold bar on that team other than Zion.
I mean, Lonzo's was great this year though, and I think he's going to get a good contract. I'd love for him to go somewhere. But my thing about that is like, if we're going to look at, I don't think players look at organizations necessarily like we do, because if we are, like, why the fuck would he even think about going to the Knicks? Fucking shit ass organization. Why would you even think about going there? But people always talk about their name. It's the Knicks. It's not. I want to go to the Miami Heat because they are such a great organization. And it's also in Miami, Florida. And Pat Riley continuously builds a winner. Or I want to go to, XYZ team because they're constant. I want to go to Phoenix because, hey, they've been to the playoffs every year except for blah, blah, blah. It's just people don't really go necessarily to good organizations. They go to fucking cities that they want to play in. Also, because the Knicks are shit.
Have you seen D-Book's house? Like, I would go to Phoenix if I could live in that compound.
I think you're oversimplifying. I really think you're oversimplifying. Because when I look at the Knicks, right, it's a cost benefit analysis you have to have, and you sit down with your people and come up with it. There's a reason that you have some guys that are more willing to go to Miami or somewhere in Florida. I ain't got to pay taxes. And that's some of the conversation that does fucking happen. Beyond those things, you look at a place like New York and you play for the Garden. Yes, Dolan and the organization itself are big fucking caveats of being like, yo, I might get made fun of because of what's happening on a national stage here at the Garden. But there's also an element that if you think that they're actually building something, the amount of money that you get with your name on the marquee on the side of Madison Square Garden in New York, as far as advertising on the local level or anything else, a local advertising in New York is not paying the same as it would in Charlotte or even Washington, D.C. with an Eastern Motors commercial. It works differently. Or the A, right? There's
but nobody talks about the Hawks.
No, that's
a good. That's why it's
bullshit.
bullshit.
Well,
that's why it's bullshit. They don't talk about. They don't bring up the Hawks. It's a fucking winning organization. They've been a winning organization for the last 10, 12 years. They win more than the Knicks. It's also fucking Black Hollywood. Oh, Strip Club Capital. Why the fuck don't you want to play there? They got Trae Young. They got Kevin Huerter. They got Bogdanovic. They got so many. But no, let's go play with the Knicks because they have rats there in New York.
Extra grind.
And people tell tall tales and myths and everything. And porn used to be a big thing there in the 70s. And the drugs are great. Like, no, it's bullshit. It's bullshit. It's not a thing, fam. Then, because if it's true, then just break down the really good organizations that win and look at them and go there.
I thought the South got something to say.
I love that. That is the clip, ladies and gentlemen. You just saw
clap.
Yeah, that's the cold open. Fuck my story.
That man
angry Keem.
Look, there's still an element of the Hawks are the Hawks. It's a stank that's there. It shouldn't. I'm not saying it should exist.
I agree.
I
agree, but
once they went tomorrow,
it's a BS myth, though.
I agree, but it's the same thing. That, like, what did I say about Utah and Denver? They're fucking interchangeable organizations. Who gives a fuck? Like, there's no difference there. There's certain stinks with organizations, and it takes a long time for you to get off of that. I think what Trae has done has actually made it. Trae has helped that organization more than most people are acknowledging that he's helped that organization. This is an attitude. This is who we're gonna be down here, and I think that's it's the same thing. Like Miami, nobody gave a fuck about Miami until fucking Dwayne Wade and Pat Riley showed up, and then Miami ended up being like this spot. Oh well, shit, Miami. Orlando, nobody gives a fuck about Orlando. Like there's just come on, there's just some franchise in the NFL for the longest time was fucking Cleveland. Now Cleveland's fun. I want to go play for Cleveland, but it took forever to get past that point to fucking Cleveland being a destination for anybody.
You talking about the Browns?
Yeah, I'm talking about the Browns.
Okay.
I don't know.
I'm talking about the Browns. Yeah, Cavaliers. Throw the fucking Cavs in the mix. Minnesota. We can name a bunch of organizations nobody gives a fuck about. Like there's just
all right. We're talking about people who don't give a fuck. All right.
But
cool.
Atlanta, I think
people want to go play.
But I think your point, Keem. I think Trae Young and why not mention where he did it in Madison Square Garden, where everybody was fucking watching. It was good advertisement for the organization, man. It's really good advertisement for the organization.
He's like the new age Reggie Miller, like I said before.
Hey.
Yeah, Indiana was somewhere that you shouldn't expect to be on the list, but Indiana was kind of they cooked for a minute.
Remember how Reggie Miller was fighting with Spike Lee, Trae Young fighting with Spike Lee.
And Indiana became a spot for a while that people kind of wanted to go to. And when you think about Indianapolis, well, fuck, what are you going to play in Indiana? No, it's the organization. Like, you start falling in love with it. There's certain aspects of it. The Knicks right now are the laughing stock. James Dolan has turned into the laughing stock. It used to be you want to go play for the Garden, play for the Knicks. And now it's, but we got to go play for James Dolan. Like, it's just, we're going to get laughed at more than we're going to win.
Yeah.
As long as I get paid. That's the type to go there. All right. So,
Melo.
Talk about Melo?
No, we don't need to talk about Melo.
Okay.
No.
That story is
Cheerios.
No, not even that. Like, you flew to London?
If that shit is true, he's a dog. He's a dog.
He is a legend.
Hey, but isn't he Puerto Rican?
Fuck out of here.
Any Puerto Rican? Any Puerto Rican or something?
I don't know.
I think he is like partially Latino.
Black men don't cheat, so Melo, yeah, he do whatever.
Baltimore. Wait, where you live?
Baltimore, Murderland.
Yeah, he is in that Stop Snitching video.
Yep. All right, so let's discuss a trade, like the biggest trade that's happened so far, I guess, would be Kemba Walker traded from the Celtics over to OKC. I do want to note that Boston gave up Kemba plus a first-round pick for fucking Horford.
Oh, I'm so ready to talk about this.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm so ready.
Like, OKC has been getting first-round picks forever.
And that's what I want to fucking talk about. Okay. Somebody, I think it was, I forget who did it on Twitter, but they broke it down and I just copied it. The Thunder traded Carmelo Anthony and the first for Dennis Schroeder. Then they traded Dennis for Danny Green and the first. Then they traded Danny Green for Horford and a first. And then they traded Horford for Kemba and a first. Like, fam.
First. Just give me a first.
Give that man his motherfucking props.
But then
like, he is dealing.
They traded Paul George for like 5 firsts.
Yes, but like, and this is supposed to be one of those like really, yeah, and this is supposed to be one of those really good drafts. That's what people think, and I think they're projected to get number 4 right now. They could get 5 as well if Houston slides. They're projected to get number 4, 16, and I think like 18 or 20.
They got Houston's first round pick too.
I think it's what's the word? Like it's
protected.
Yes, it's protected.
Okay.
I had a brain fart. Yeah, it's protected, and I think it's top. I want to say top 3 or top 4 protected, and I guess they get it if it slides to 5.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Because yeah, Houston was pretty bad.
Absolutely, worst team in the league.
Yeah, OKC might be a powerhouse.
Well, if they draft right.
Yeah. The thing with OKC, well, Sam Presti, give him his props, but outside of the Sam Presti thing, I think what people are realizing is that if you look throughout the history of the NBA, can you really recall an organization that at one point had that much talent on one roster at one point? We were talking about like 7 years ago.
Oh, man, okay, so
when they had basically that should have been a perennial fucking championship winning organization. And they got nothing. Like there's nothing. From all of those fucking talent that they had, it was nothing. And to think there needed to be some sort of light at the end of the tunnel. And like there had to be something that kind of, for having as much talent as they did have, to losing all of it, you got to get something back in return. And I think that right now you're looking at, they did a full-fledged rebuild. I mean, I don't think you'll ever see a team as loaded as they were with like homegrown fucking talent than what they did. And that's why I even feel even worse for fucking Seattle basketball fans. Jesus Christ. Like, it's just like what could have been. But I don't know. I give Sam Presti a lot of credit. I hope they make the right decisions as far as draft picks go. Because once again, I still am of the idea that unless there's just a universal talent sort of thing, a draft is usually a crapshoot. So Lord knows you hope that they spend it right. And not just pick up a bunch of Ben Simmonses that can't fucking shoot. You trust the process, my ass. We'll see. But Sam Presti deserves a lot of credit for turning shit into gold, baby. Because but I still look back at those old fucking teams and be like, yo, they should have been a perennial championship.
I mean, I want to speak to a couple things because I agree with that, but also you have the caveat of the James Harden trade. Like, Sam didn't know the cap would boom like it did. If he had known that, I'm sure he doesn't make that trade. And maybe we're talking about OKC having been the dynasty from the West instead of the Warriors right now. Like, like if that happens, of course, like, you know, still he made the trade. Probably shouldn't have. He chose Ibaka over Harden. That was a mistake. Yeah, that was a mistake. And so, yeah. But as far as Presti goes, I'm with you, K-Dot, because we've seen this before where teams like stockpile a lot of picks. And it's like, it was like when the Rockets, well, that is how they got James Harden. But they were stockpiling picks, and then they ended up getting James Harden because they had been stockpiling picks. So, yes, you either wait for a superstar trade or, hey, Luka, or Giannis, or you draft extremely well. We saw the Celtics do it and not draft necessarily that great. They maybe hit a couple and missed on a bunch more than they hit on, but draft is a crapshoot. So it is what it is. And so, yeah, really, they just need to make sure they don't waste those picks. So I wouldn't just go all in on the draft. Like, they got SGA. He's probably one of those guys that can be your third best player on a championship team, something like that. You keep SGA, maybe trade for a star that's getting overpaid or something where you have a low cap, and then you work that out. But yeah, they have the potential, but potential isn't anything unless it accomplishes something.
I also like Kemba. I think the thing with point guards in fucking Boston has just been weird recently. Like I don't think that you can look like the same to the Kyrie in Boston, which just it's just there's certain elements to maybe certain guys in certain cities or certain organizations who just aren't going to get the best out of them. I think you can see Kemba be better in Oklahoma. What?
As long as
got the Kawhi news. I don't know if you guys have just seen this.
I did not get an alert.
Kawhi to miss Western Conference games 1 and 2. Star will not travel to Phoenix to continue rehabbing knee injury at home.
All right. So I do want to say that Luka's not fucking leaving, and also the Kemba to OKC
It's up
thing
to Luka.
would be kind of
Yeah,
cool.
says whom? James?
Hey, the Kemba to OKC thing is cool. I just don't want it to stunt SGA's growth.
It won't. Chris Paul didn't.
Fair point. All right. So final thing for this episode. NBA announced the all NBA teams and all NBA rookies. So I'm going to tell you the people that did it, and then if you have any issues, let me know. All NBA first team. Steph Curry, Ryan. The first person on the list is Steph Curry.
Some people get things wrong sometimes. It's okay.
Yeah, you're one of those people.
Second is Luka. Then Giannis, Kawhi, and the Joker. So that's the top 5. Any issues?
No.
Okay, so I'll move on to second team. All NBA second team. It's Damian Lillard, Chris Paul, Julius Randle, LeBron James, and Joel Embiid.
No.
Okay.
No, not majorly.
All
I
right.
mean, I'm looking at point guard compared to shooting guard. Like, I want Beal in there over Paul, but that's just me. But I know that that's not the same thing, so keep going.
All right. All NBA third team. Bradley Beal,
Yep.
Kyrie,
Mhm.
Jimmy Butler, Paul George, and Rudy Gobert.
Okay, so this is where I had issue. I don't remember who. I have to let me check my notes real quick. But Jimmy Butler shouldn't be on this list.
That's what I said.
He's on this list off of name only.
Yeah. I say that Jimmy Butler's probably my favorite guy in the NBA. Yeah.
And I love him, but he shouldn't be on this list. I can't remember who should replace him.
Oh, I do. I already know.
Who?
From the Celtics, Jason Tatum.
Oh yeah, Tatum. Yeah, it should have been Tatum. Yep.
Yeah, I can see that.
That's what it was. That's why I forgot, because it's fuck the Celtics all day, every day. That's why I forgot.
I was also, to be completely honest, I'm looking for a spot to put Russ. He doesn't get in, but I'm trying to look for a spot to
You
put
put
Russ.
in Russ, you got to take out Bradley Beal.
No, they both need in. But
No.
I'm just saying, look, everybody, Wizards still made the playoffs. And Russ, I mean, I think we're taking for granted what Russ is doing. And I don't know. I just feel like there needs to be more love for what Russ is doing and what we're seeing.
So there's 6 spots.
That's the other thing. I can't find a spot.
Yeah. So it's not like
to me, he's right there on the edge. I legit, I can't find a spot. The only thing that I might say is Kyrie, just because of time missed, but I can't really do it.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. So the all defensive first team. I just found this, so I'm gonna say it too. They got Ben Simmons, Drew Holiday, Draymond, Giannis, and Rudy Gobert.
Better be glad they're not looking at playoffs.
Yeah, that's accurate though.
But yeah, it's it.
Hey,
Well,
Drew,
fuck Rudy.
Drew was checking KD at one point. He was like, it was the best defense I've seen in a long time.
Drew be making people work.
Yeah.
But KD still scored. Like, I want to note that too. Like, he still shot over top of him, but Drew was right there.
Can I also say that Rudy Gobert's name should not be mentioned in defensive unless you put Mike Conley's name with him? There should be an asterisk next to Gobert and just says it means while Conley's on the court with him.
Yeah, because they were running sets to get Rudy Gobert on them. Like on the ball handler.
I hate the analytics that they're given for big men where it doesn't fucking fuck you, Rudy. Fucking COVID-loving prick.
All defensive second team. Jimmy Butler, Matisse Thybulle, Bam Adebayo, Kawhi Leonard, Joel Embiid.
Accurate as fuck.
Yep, don't have a problem with that at all.
Let's go, Matisse. All right. And then the rookies. I got the rookies. All NBA rookie first team. LaMelo Ball. Okay, Doc.
I already admitted I was fucking wrong.
I know. I'm just going to keep bringing it up. because
worry about your goddamn Mavericks organization imploding.
Y'all gave me so much shit. So fuck y'all. Fuck
Luke is leaving.
Still better than the Wizards.
LaMelo, baby.
I mean, that's a low bar.
I don't give a shit.
LaMelo.
It's your bar. All right. Sadiq Bey, Anthony Edwards, who is one of my favorite NBA players just based off his interviews. He's great. Tyrese Halliburton and Deshaun Tate. I have not seen Deshaun Tate at all. Plays for the Rockets.
Yeah.
That's why you haven't seen him.
Yeah.
Fair. Well, I mean, to me,
he was a diamond that came out of the ashes of that dumpster.
I would have put Quickly over Tate, but
yeah.
Second team is Desmond Bane, Isaac Okoro. Thank you. Emmanuel Quickly, Isaiah Stewart, and Patrick Williams.
I like Patrick Williams a lot.
Yeah, me too.
Cole Anthony was upset he wasn't on there.
Yeah, I know. I saw that. I mean, and Quickly had a hell of a season, but
I'm looking at the point total between Quickly and Tate. It was really close.
And one played on a significantly better team.
It was very close between them. I get it.
Yeah, I'm looking at it now. Wait, what?
Cole Anthony had the second highest points per game for rookies.
He only got 40 total points. And Campazzo from Denver got 42 points. That's weird.
I mean, there was one star that's shown from all those people, but
yeah,
he was heads above the rest.
Heads above.
Cole Anthony should have been there.
He should have been.
So that's the whole list. Keem, that was funny. Are you calm?
I'm fine.
Okay.
I'm fine.
Hey, we know his triggers now. All we gotta do is say New York is better than Atlanta in this aspect, and
Mob Deep over Outcast. And I'm joking.
You must have this twisted, huh?
R.I.P. Prodigy, but
MLBB.
Shit.
Ooh, that's actually a non-sports debate I want to have. Best rap cities. I want to rank them.
After you go Jay-Z.
Here we go. Here's what we do. I want our next week final thought, non-sports related, is to get into it. As far as the best rap cities historically in America, I'm sure we're looking at New York, LA, Atlanta, Detroit,
Houston, Dallas,
Bay Area,
Miami,
Bay Area,
Miami.
Jersey.
I'll even throw Virginia Beach in there.
You got to throw Jersey,
Memphis, low key. Memphis. They're not in the top 3, but they're in there somewhere.
New Orleans.
Yeah,
can we just group like the South?
Are you acknowledging Jersey?
Anna.
But that's the thing is I could get in my Mississippi bag. I could get.
Are you going to acknowledge Jersey? Are you just going to keep talking?
Yeah, you can't include New Jersey and New York. So you got to acknowledge Jersey.
It seems like you can because they do it all the fucking time.
Yeah, but the thing with Jersey gets capped quick, in my opinion. Like you can look at the top talent out of Jersey, and I'm thinking it caps out. All right, let's get into it more next week. What are our final thoughts?
So I'll bring it back. Final thought. K-Dot, go first.
Juneteenth. I am very, very happy that they've made Juneteenth a federal holiday. But I will also tell everyone that it still feels like nothing but bullshit. And the reason I say this is that if you want a national holiday that would have actually helped out black people, how about you make Election Day a national holiday so we could get in the fucking voting booths and do something? You right now have Congress, which passes it with flying colors as a federal holiday, and yet don't want to teach about what it is that led up and all the slavery and the issues with racism that surround everything as far as Juneteenth and the history of black people in America. But yeah, here, Negroes have your holiday. To me, I want everybody to be very, very mindful of performative bullshit compared to things being actual change. Is it a step in the right direction that we are talking about Juneteenth on a national level like this, yes, I think it's good. But I don't want people to think that this is even a small, micro, little bit of anything, really, as far as what it is we need to have change or get done. There's a lot of things sitting on Capitol Hill right now as far as police reform. There's a lot of things sitting on Capitol Hill right now as far as where it is funds could go to help us out as far as HBCUs, as far as what needs to happen economically within the Black community. And yet we get to be happy that certain people get days off, which also, if you want to look at it from a federal holiday standpoint, most African Americans that work in like things like the service industry aren't getting that fucking day off anyway. So just want people to be mindful of like what it actually means as far as us having this as a national holiday compared to what it is we should be having.
Post office open today too.
I saw they were closed yesterday. I saw a funny joke because obviously Fox News is like, Juneteenth shouldn't be a federal holiday. And someone tweeted, how much do you have to hate somebody to complain about another day off work? Like, what the fuck is wrong with you people?
Yeah.
Shout out to Azalea Banks. Never thought I'd say that. Azalea Banks.
She
ripped Candace Owens' ass.
Yeah.
Wide the fuck open. And I'm sorry, Candace, if you got your asshole ripped out by Azalea Banks, you really need to reevaluate what it is you're doing.
I'll go real quick. Final thoughts. Mets are still awesome. And now that we're thinking about it, I think Papoose may be one of the most underrated rappers of all time.
All right. Okay.
He's one of those Hot 97 New York rappers that they tried to put on and it didn't work.
I love him so much.
The motherfucker's named after a thing you carry babies in.
And I think he's still married to Remy Ma, right?
Yeah. Yes, he is. They are
hip hop royalty.
They are. They are goals for a lot of people. My final thoughts are that Loki is very much a good show so far. I'm interested to see what they do with him in the TVA. I won't spoil it because K-Dot said he hasn't seen episode 2 yet, but I will say I called that being the variant. I figured that is who the variant would be. And I'm wondering if I've heard rumors that they're gonna introduce Kang into the show, and Kang is already gonna be the villain in Ant-Man and Wasp, Quantum Realm or whatever. And he's played by John Majors, who I think is great. He's great on Lovecraft Country. So I'm just really excited for more Marvel content. Black Widow's coming out next month. And so, I need only thing now I really need is some information on Blade, because that's probably the MCU movie that I cared the most about at this point.
I just recently rewatched Blade 1 through 3. So
the third one is trash, but those first two.
Oh no, but the third one you have to watch them in sequence. I'm not leaving it out. Also, just heard the greatest joke. Who's the best shot blocker in Jazz history? John Stockton. Continue.
John Stockton.
That might be the first time that I actually laughed out loud at one of them shits. That was good. All right. My final thought is the pie to Barcelona. I'm happy about it.
Oh yeah, on a free, right?
Yep, on a free. We should have had Genie Wijnaldum too, but
well, if you saw how many sitters he missed just recently, it checks out.
I mean, whatever. Griezmann scored, so fuck you.
Yeah, he did.
All right. See you guys next week.
All right.
Dallas Mavericks are imploding.
Out of the hospital.
You said, Erickson? Yep.
Yeah,
And he visited the team. So congratulations.
All right. Dallas Mavericks are imploding, and if you didn't know, now you know, because I told you.